Now we have added a migration, but it is very common that you might have to change something with the column. It could be renaming a column, changing the type, or something along those lines. How will you do that? Doing that is super simple when it comes to Entity Framework Core. You never do that directly in the database. When you work with code first, you will never touch the database directly to make any changes. You make change inside the code here, add a new migration, and that should be responsible for all the changes. So let's say we have a situation that double for price is too big. We do not want that. We rather want to use decimal. So we will change the type in our class here, and then all we have to do is add a migration. I will name the migration as change price column to decimal in books table. It is long, but it is meaningful. Let me press the enter button. Now when we do that, we get a warning. The warning here that we are getting is based on the precision. If it does not fail within that, there could be loss of data. But we do not have any record already in the price column, so we can ignore this one. If we go down here and see what the migration is doing, it is adding a decimal, and you can see it is 18. The precision here is 2. So basically, let's say if there was any record in your database with this value for price. The precision for decimal is only 2 digit, so that's why it was warning that there might be loss of data that you can see right here. It is just a warning, but I wanted to show that as well. Perfect. Now this is the default precision. What if you want to change that? Doing that is simple. We have to do that on application DB context. We do not have any tag available for that right now with EF Core that we can apply directly on the book class right here. But we can do all the customizations using the onModelCreating method that we will have to add on our DB context. So right here, we will override the built-in method, which is onModelCreating, and that expects a model builder. On that model builder, we can perform some operations. Here we have the entity, so we need to define what entity we want to work on. We want to work on the book entity, and there we want to work on a property. We will use link expression, and the property that we want to work on is price, and on there we want to set a precision. So we have has precision, and we can override the default one. We can say 10,5 here, and that will be the precision for our property. Now right now, if you remember, we have not pushed that migration to database. So if we want to remove that migration, we can do that as well. In Package Manager console, you see to undo this action, we have remove migration. But be careful. If that migration you have applied to the database, then do not remove the migration because that will break things. Only use remove migration if the migration that got added here, you are not happy with that and you have not pushed that to the database. That is very, very important. Since we know that this migration we have not pushed, I will go ahead and execute the command remove migration. Perfect, it was successful, and after that is done, it also reverted the model snapshot. Now if you examine in the migrations, we do not have the migration that was added. If we close that, we only have add book to DB. We have already configured that in our book, price will be decimal, and inside the onModel handling, we have defined the precision. Now if we add the migration again, let me add migration with the same name. Change price column to decimal in books table. This time the migration that will be added will have the correct precision that we want. Great, you can see it is 10 and 5. If that looks good, all we have to do is hit the command update database, and that will push the changes to our database. Perfect, migration has been applied. Now if we go back to our database, and if we examine the EF migration, we will have the second migration. Perfect. Let me right click on the book table and create to script that. It displays that price is decimal 10.5 and that looks good. So this way we have learned two things. We saw how to remove a migration and we also saw how to update any columns in the existing table by adding a new migration. Let me continue from the next video.